Kupenda mtu inamaanisha kumwachilia. Na wakati mwingine, kupenda mtu inamaanisha kumwacha akabiliane na hiyo uchungu ya kifo.
She is more than just a familiar face on our screens. An actress whose talent, charm, and versatility continue to win hearts. From captivating roles to inspiring dreamers, her journey is proof that passion and persistence pays off. But beyond the spotlight, who really is Foyi Wambui?
Foyi Wambui is a woman and a human first. I really like starting with that because aside from my work, I like people to remember that we are just individuals, we're just human beings. So I am a woman, I love sleeping when I'm not working, that's my best hobby. And I just love spending time with my people.
As her journey continues to unfold, the creative force reflects on the lasting imprint she hopes to leave behind.
I would want people to remember me for creating spaces where they feel seen, heard, and understood. That's one of my major things that I try to do with all the pieces of work that I do.
Emily?
Lucas?
I see you look older.
It's been a long time. Time does that.
I feel like if you follow me online, then you see very many aspects of my life with my friends, the things we get up to, us going on dates. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that I feel like is a secret, because that feels like a secret, something I don't want anyone to know. No, I don't think I have secrets. I'm such an open book. And I think I'm very authentic in what I share. Like, I can't really say that there's anything that would be shocking for anyone to learn.
With a career that demands so much and a personal life to nurture, the stage to screen creator opens up about how she manages to balance it all.
Balance for me, I find like it's really not possible. I don't think balancing is a vocabulary in my life. For me, I usually say I like to prioritize. So different seasons, something is going to just fall behind. And at different seasons, something is going to be, doing well. So right now, for example, I'm working on a theater show called Kagia. And so that means I'm not on any screen project. And that means that some of the work for the Crutch Africa has to take a back seat for a bit of time. So every season and every day, sometimes it's even on a daily aspect. So like maybe I'll prioritize screen work for today. That means that maybe I'll only set apart 1 or 2 hours to do my other kind of work. So for me, balancing, I don't think it's possible, but I do prioritize. I think for me, that's what's most important.
Away from the spotlight and the cameras, Foyi gives us a glimpse into what a typical day in her life looks like.
Every day is so different because obviously I'm a creative. Everything that I do, it depends on whether there's work or not. Some days are very hectic, are very busy. Some seasons, some months, some weeks are very busy. Other seasons I have a lot more free time. So generally, I don't think any of my days looks the same, which is something I really love. I don't like monotonous days. I like waking up and being like, oh, what are we doing today? It's so exciting to have different things to do every single day. But generally, as a rule of thumb, my morning routine usually stays consistent. Making my bed, my devotion, my time with God is very important for me. Showering, breakfast, those things are consistent in my day, but when it comes to the actual work of the day, it usually varies.
Every journey begins with a spark. The creative voice takes us back to what first inspired her to step into the world of acting.
If it was the money, I would be doing other things. I think there's easier ways to make money, if you know what I mean. But for me, the inspiration towards being an actor, honestly, I think it's my God-given talent. I have enjoyed acting since I was young. I used to be very active in school, drama festivals. I won awards in high school. And so it came very naturally for me. So even when I left high school, it's something that I wanted to pursue. Although there's like a lot of stories around that, but yeah, it's something that's been inside me ever since I was young. And then for content creation, actually content creation found me. I didn't go looking for it. I just enjoyed creating stories. I enjoyed writing. I enjoyed taking pictures and videos. I've always been very creative. And so I used to do that, especially, you know, back then when Instagram was just Instagram, we just used to post pictures. It sort of worked like Facebook, where you post pictures with your friends, with outfits. There was no like brand deals and content creation as a word. We were just sharing. And so that's where I started, by just sharing my life, sharing the things I like, sharing interactions and conversations that I have. And that increased my numbers gradually to a point where now I guess we can say that I'm a content creator. But generally what I found is I just always post what is in my heart, what comes naturally for me. I've never been one person to like curate things. It's just what I enjoy and what I like and what I'm thinking about. That's still stayed consistent to date. Yeah.
From early breakthroughs to recent triumphs, the award-winning performer recalls the milestone that changed everything.
I won Best Actress nationally and Best Performer nationally, but it didn't click in my mind. In fact, I remember, because I won that particular award for provincials and different stages of drama festival, and I remember the first time I was called as the winner, I was like, what? Me? Okay. But it never clicked at, yeah, this is what I'm pursuing for the rest of my life. I used to be smart. I mean, I am smart, but like, I was a smart kid. And so when you're a smart kid, there are certain careers, quote unquote, you're allowed to do. You know, the doctor, engineer, lawyer, da da da. So those are the top 5 that in my head I thought I was going to pursue. And I knew I would pursue acting, but like on the side. I didn't think it would be my full-time career, but I'm so grateful that things panned out as they did.
Nakupenda. Hey, sorry. Nakupenda kama rafiki.
My parents have always been very, very supportive. So after high school, I joined law school for a semester, but the school wali strike. And so I got my first job on radio, as well as I started acting, like I started doing plays. My mom was very supportive in that. She asked me, after 2 semesters of them having like gone on strike, she asked me, okay, this thing on this other side is working, but school, this is happening, why don't you pursue this and actually go to school for this, for journalism, as well as pursue your acting, because it seems to be working. And I was so grateful that she's the one who brought it up, because I don't think I would have brought it up myself. So yeah, they've always been supportive. All my shows, they watched them to a point where my dad used to, he used to call me in the living room when a show I'm in was airing. Hey, it's time for Undercover. Come, let's watch. Like, it used to be like a family tradition. So they've always been very supportive about my career. For parents who do not support their children's dream, I would really urge them to understand that the gifts that we are given are not from ourselves. Like, we're not the ones who decide that this is the path we want to take. God, with his kindness and mercy, usually imparts in us those gifts and talents. So to deny them the opportunity to do what they desire to do and what they are talented in doing is like saying you know better than God. Honestly, that would be my honest and brutal advice for such parents. The memory of my dad is still very fresh for me. It's been a year and some months since I lost him, and I think it's really shaped a lot for me. Last year, it made me very committed to finishing my degree. So because of working and going to school, I've taken so long to finish my degree. But it's something that he was very passionate about, and so last year, I made sure that that's something that I do just to honor him and say that I've done this, obviously for myself, but also just as a you know, yeah, I hope you see this, Dad. And I've actually done it. I finally have my degree. So it's also made me appreciate just my parents and in general. It's made me have a newfound respect for my mom, who's still alive, and the relationship that I have with her, and made me feel like I want to be more intentional about that relationship. Loss is a very tricky thing, and it lives with us even when it's been years and months, but it's something that is a reflection of the love that we have or had for them. So the Crash Africa is a platform that I started in 2023, and that's the same year that I lost my dad. So when coming back and deciding to restart the work that we were doing with the Crash Africa, I knew that the first event I had to do was the Canvas of Grief, which was an event around grief. I think we go through some things not just for ourselves, but to help others. So I felt the need to create a space where women can come together and share in those difficult emotions and difficult process of grief. Yeah, I think grief can be very isolating. You can feel very lonely in the midst of grief, and that's something I really, really desired at the beginning stages of my grief, and I didn't have that. And so I decided, you know what, let me be the one to create a space like that for other women. Yeah. I hope you're enjoying this episode on Millennial on the Move. We will be right back with more conversations around me. Hi, nakucheki, umerudi. Thank you for coming back. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. We're gonna continue for a bit, just discussing more on who I am, and I hope at the end of it, you'll get to know me a bit better. I would say, honestly, last year was my proudest moment because, hey, I was doing both school, my final year, and if you've been in university, you know how final year is hectic. I also had a lead role on Shanga, and so that required me to be on set every single day. So juggling the two things, I thought I would lose my mind. Of course, I still had content, I still had influencer work, I still had a social life. Doing all that last year, honestly, I'm so proud of that. I feel like if I was able to do that, I can do literally anything. Yeah, that's my proudest moment.
Beyond the wins and highlights, Foy reveals the roadblock that tested her resilience the most.
I would say my biggest roadblock has been mental. Being a creative, you get a lot of rejection. A lot of rejection, especially being an actor. You can go for like, let's say 20 auditions in a year and maybe get one or get none of them. And so it requires a lot of grit and a lot of strength and a lot of grace from God, honestly, because it can really take a toll on you. So for me, I feel like the biggest battle has been mental, although over the years, I don't take rejection as seriously as I did at the beginning. But also I think it's because over the years, milango zilianza kufunguka, so maybe it doesn't sting as much. But even the rejections that, like, you really, you know, there's those shows you really want to be a part of. There's those things you really desire. You see that show and you're like, oh, I would want to be there, and it doesn't happen for you. And you can ask yourself difficult questions. You can ask God difficult questions, but at the end of it, I always go back to reminding myself that if it's for me, it will never pass me by, and if it passes me by, then it wasn't for me, and I'm okay with that. The acting industry obviously has like a bunch of challenges. One of the major ones is in regards to payment, in regards to how we are compensated as creatives, as actors, as crew members as well. I think that has always been such a big hurdle in the industry because people put in a lot of work and a lot of hours. I don't know if it really translates to the amount of money that we get paid. You see in other industries, people being able to do just one show. Like they do one show and that one show pays for their houses, for their cars. It pays them in royalties over the years where they get certain amounts of money every single year because of just one project. But for us, we consistently have to be looking for work. Like you do a show right now as you're looking for the next one, because unfortunately we live hand to mouth as actors. But then people outside will think that you are a millionaire, you know, because you're on TV. But it really, in the pocket, it's not like that. And so there's an expectation that, you know, you get from the public, from people, from even strangers and family members that you meet, where they're like, si unakonga TV, si utulipie ina. But then, my friend, mfuko yako inalia. So I think payment is a very big problem that we have in the industry. We're hoping that with the Kenya Actors Guild, we're able to bridge that gap and be compensated fairly for our work.
Breakups are tough, especially when you have to see him in all your favorite photos.
Whatever you need, you won't get it from me. I'm wasting too much time on you. Look at what you put me.
You have to be on top of your game. Yes, there's a lot of competition, but I feel like we can all eat eventually. I know it's an easy statement to make, but like, yeah, we can all eat, but where are all the opportunities? But for you to be able to stay on top of your game and, you know, be considered and not be forgotten is you literally have to consistently be posting. You have to consistently be sharpening your craft, such that when I go for an audition, yes, there's a lot of people who are doing the same role, who are auditioning for the same role, but I can bring that little foy sauce that makes you be like, oh, okay. Yeah, kumbe, yeah, we think that's the one we want. And also just obviously being very active online helps, because it keeps people remembering that kuna kasichana kanaitwa Fui kenya kanajua kuact. Yeah, there's still a lot of people, so you have to remain top of mind in casting directors and producers' minds. A difficult moment that I went through in my acting career actually was this year. Basically, my character died in the story. That was difficult. That was really, really difficult for me. You get very attached to your character, and it feels like you're grieving yourself. And also, you know, obviously, like, yeah, you feel like, mbona character yangu imekufa? Like, what do you mean? Obviously with conversations around that with the executive producer and them explaining how the story had to go that way, etc., it made me realize that, imagine, unless it's your own company, you cannot afford to be entitled. You cannot afford to be entitled, whether it's in getting a job or when that job ends. You cannot afford to be entitled, because it will break your heart when you realize that, imagine, anything can happen. And so for me, it was a very humbling experience. It was very humbling. I was like, oh. But for me, it was also very grounding to realize that, vitu isha, imagine. So when it's there, you appreciate it, you do it to the best of your ability. And when it's not there, you live with grace and you live knowing that I did my best. I have a mantra that I live by. It's feel the fear and do it anyway. Yeah, feel the fear and do it anyway. It's easy to feel afraid of going for that audition, going for that interview. It's easy to feel fear around getting a new job, starting a new career, starting a business. Fear is such a big thing in our hearts a lot of times. But may I say, it's okay to feel that fear, but just still get up and still go ahead and do it, because you will thank yourself later on. The show I'm working on currently is called Kagia, and for me it's a very, very exciting show, because when you think about the Kapenguria 6, you might think about Jomo Kenyatta mostly, But a lot of people don't understand the story around Bildad Kagia and how he was such an exceptional man. He's the only member of the Kapenguria Six who did not give in, and he desired that Kenya would be great, not just only for himself, but for all the Kenyans. And so for me, it's a brilliant story, because I wonder how things would have been if many thought and believed as Bildad Kagia did, and how things right now would be if many of us took some of his values and enacted them in our own lives. I think he's a phenomenal man, and so I'm very excited to be part of the play. Where do I see myself in the next 5 to 10 years? Honestly, I don't know. Where God wants me to be. If He wants me to be in Alaska, I'll ask her. Yeah, I really don't know. I hope that I'm still acting. I hope I'm producing my own work. I hope I'm writing my own work. I hope I have an Oscar or 2 or 3. I hope I'm married with healthy children. But, man plans and God decides. So, penye Mungu anataka tu, I'm happy.
Vamos, mis amores, dale, mis amores. Vamos, mis amores, dale. Esa es la vecina que puede.
It's so funny because everything I post, people think I'm rehearsing for a show or it's a clip from a movie. But honestly, I blame myself, because there's something I posted a while back where I was being proposed to, and it trended only for people to realize it was a video. So I feel like nikujitakia, but yeah, I did get baptized. It's not a movie, it's not a series, it's not a play I'm working on. I did get baptized because I wanted to publicly declare that I am a follower of Jesus. I have been a follower of Jesus, but baptism is a declaration publicly that, it's like a wedding ring where you tell the world that, hey, I am married to Jesus. Yeah. I would tell young boys and girls to just be themselves. It sounds like such a cliche, but genuinely, I think it's the best thing you can ever do for yourself. It keeps you grounded as well. When eventually you get what you want, it keeps you grounded. So just be yourself and understand that the worst that can ever happen to you is receiving a no. Like, you won't die. So just go, do your best, put your best foot forward, and hope for the best from God.
Beyond the roles and the cameras, the creative shares the simple joys that fills her free moments.
I sleep, I watch a lot of videos on like acting and content. So a lot of times when I'm not doing a project, that's my time to do my homework, to read acting books, to watch videos, and just prepare, because I'm consistently believing that I'm gonna get another role and it's gonna be better, so I need to consistently be preparing. Yeah.
Haikuhusu, lakini kama lazima ujue, niko hapa kutimiza order nilipata kutoka kwa Naipei.
Thank you so much for watching me here on Millennial on the Move. I just want to remind you that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. If you want to follow me and follow all the work that I do, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, on Twitter, on all social media platforms at @foi_wamboi_. Kwaherini.